the Houston bayou system. So one day during a hard rain, two friends and I went to U-Haul. We rented a canoe. We put in at Jersey Village. And the plan was to sail all the way to Galveston Bay, find a payphone, and call a friend to pick us up. Now I should probably say that at this point I was 27 years old and had two small children at home. So the first hour went pretty smoothly. The water was high and running pretty fast. At one point I gingerly stood up in the canoe and I peeked over the side of the bayou, the bank, and I saw the Inwood Forest golf course. But then when we hit Tidwell and T.C. Jester on White Oak Bayou, I had a bad feeling, a bad premonition. And as we came around the corner of the bayou, there in front of us was a maelstrom of white foam. And I realized we were at the weir, W-E-I-R, for those of you who don't know your river terms. A weir is where the river drops, probably at about 10 feet here, but it's also where that natural bayou got squished into the cement bayou. And at the same time, a tributary was coming in from the right, creating this incredible whirlpool. So I quickly told my friends, quick, move to the right. Get it on the bank, and we pulled the canoe up, and we were looking there trying to decide what to do, when all of a sudden we hear someone behind us on the bridge yelling at us. So we ignore him, and we decide we're going to walk up the tributary about 100 yards, we're going to cross the tributary, we're going to portage down till we get to below the rapids, and we're going to begin our adventure again. So we walk the 100 yards, and we get there, and we're trying to decide if maybe another 25 yards would give us a little window of safety. When all of a sudden the guy pops up right behind us, 10 feet behind us, and he says, "I'm bayou security. You're not allowed to be in here." Now, had we been wearing helmets or even life preservers, we might have given him some guff. But since we weren't, we just sat there and kind of took it. He yelled at us for a couple of minutes. He told us that he had worked for the Army Corps of Engineers, that he had pulled dead bodies out of the Addicts Reservoir. What we were doing was incredibly dangerous and against the law. And we just nodded our heads. And finally he left. So we put the canoe into the tributary. Immediately it flips over. And now we're being pushed towards our certain death. My first thought is, save the canoe, it's a rental. That's replaced with this primal survival thing. And so I'm trying to get to out of the bayou, and the canoe is between us and the bank, so we're fighting against this canoe, and we finally push the canoe up. We get up, stand up. Now, on the best days, the Houston bayous smell pretty badly. But when it rains, oftentimes neighborhood sewage treatment plants will discharge into the bayou. So we're covered in that bayou stink. And we've lost all of our sense of adventure. So luckily we're a couple of miles from my house in Oak Forest, so we decide just to pick up the canoe and walk home. So on our way home, a policeman stops us. And we're pretty sure that bayou security has called the police. Because later on that evening, when we bring the canoe back to the U-Haul, the guy says, "Hey, did you guys lend this to someone? Because we got a phone call that there were some kids on the bayou in a U-Haul canoe." And we said, "No, sir, we've had this canoe all day." So the policeman stops us. We put the canoe down, it's raining, he gets out of his patrol car, and he says, "Boys, what are you doing?" And I said, "Officer, we're going home, we're done for the day." And he said, "Well, that's good." I said, "But officer, I have a question for you. Is it illegal to take a canoe into the bayou?" And he looked at me and said, "Son, it's not against the law, it's just against common sense."